Hey everyone. So this chapter is going to be very interesting to dissect. I'm not going to lie to you because I I had to read this chapter over several times in order to make heads or tails of certain aspects of it. But yeah, I guess let's just get into it. So the chapter starts off by giving us a run through of everyone's training, and right out of the gate, poor Rebecca. I mean, it's one thing, it's one thing to do like this mental ether gear training when tied up, but it's another to throw Ivory into the mix. And don't get me wrong, I love Ivory, I do, but if you give her the opportunity in order to be a sadistic bitch, she's gonna take it. And yeah, in this case, Rebecca's in for some pain. And now, I guess considering the pretty slow progress that Rebecca's making, I suppose she in some ways does kind of need the incentive, but seriously, you go for Ivory right out of the gate. Okay, a little extreme witch, but sure, let's throw your sister in there, who's got a serious kink for pain. Sure. And uh, being serious though for a minute, being serious though, she does being serious though. I guess for pretty much as whacked out as Rebecca's training is, which isn't necessarily wrong either though. Like in order for Rebecca's powers to truly evolve, I do understand the purpose of this in the sense where in order for Rebecca to truly like evolve Cat Leaper, she needs to learn to use it in any situation. Otherwise, what's the point of having this power to begin with? Like if Rebecca can't first learn and understand in order to use this power in when she's in a very tight situation, then I don't know if she can really call herself a real. Then I don't know if it's worth learning to fight to begin with, to be frank, or learning to fight alongside Shiki and all that. Um, of course, Rebecca's not the only one in order to get a lesson in this chapter, in this chapter as we also touch on Weiss in this chapter as well. And the advice that Zenith gives Weiss is interesting because the French idea of him actually aiming his guns and aiming when he shoots is something I hadn't really thought about all that much until now. But looking back on all of his battles, it does make a lot of sense. Like if you really examine all of Weiss's battles up to this point, he hasn't really ever done that. Like he hasn't ever done that very simple thing of actually aiming and shooting when he's fighting someone. He's just really, when you really get the answer, he's really just taking random shots and basically hoping that when he takes a shot it'll hit. And to a degree, I understand that when you're in a high stakes situation that demands you just kind of fire at random and whatnot. But at the same time, just pretty much learning this very simple principle of gun combat, I think it could have actually saved Weiss a lot. Could have saved Weiss a lot during certain moments where he was basically winning but by the skin of his teeth. Like if he had just understood this very simple principle, I think he could have actually avoided a lot of high risk situations to begin with, honestly. But yeah, but it's one of those things where it's just good that he's learning this now, honestly, rather than later, because yeah. Um, Now, the chapter also touches on everyone's missing memories, including the gap in time where the Starshines weren't with Ziggy, and we more or less go over the same beats of what we already know, but this time we add kind of a new wrinkle with the idea that if I'm understanding the timeline of things correctly here, Ziggy had regained his memories only after coming into contact with pretty much Shiki, and it's painting a clearer picture that however the Starshine's memories were altered, I I'm getting the I think I'm if I'm understanding it correctly, it was pretty much the reason as to it sounds like the reason as to why Ziggy had done it to begin with was for the purpose of preventing Shiki from was for the purpose of preventing Shiki from learning the true nature of his origins, whatever those might be. Like it's pretty much clear, like it's pretty much clear in this pack in this chapter that pretty much Shiki obviously is not a normal human being. He's not a normal human being. He's got some kind of hidden he's got some kind of hidden power tied to his origins, I guess, and and it's something that it sounds like that Ziggy himself is very much afraid of. So what so what so what so whatever those origins are, it's clear as day that's the reason as to why that Ziggy had wiped the memories of the Starshines in order to prevent Shiki from learning from learning his origins. And I but and yeah, honestly, this is kind of one of those things where at this point, even if it's considered a suicide run, the Eden Zero crew need to confront Ziggy because with the pretty much with this whole very vague illusion that from Shiki has this had that Shiki's origins are not just him like being human, that there's something else about him. At this at this point, they pretty much the Eden Zero crew needs to confront Ziggy because as of right now, he seems to be the only one with all the answers that the Eden Zero crew seeks. So they need to face him. It doesn't even matter how dangerous it is. And as far as what my personal theories on what exactly Shiki is, I'm weirdly kind of leaning in the direction of Shiki being a pretty much child of the ether. And trust me, I know how far-fetched that sounds out loud. But considering how Mashima seems to be taking a couple cues from Star Wars, it would make sense as a parallel to Anakin, who was a child of the Force. So yeah, I think that's kind of my best bet on it. I don't know how true that actually is, but yeah, it's the only conclusion I can draw from right now. Um, Again, just my 2 cents on that. Don't know how if it's true, but yeah, it's the only thing that makes sense right now. And if we want to make any headway at this point in terms of learning any of these secrets, like as to why the Starshine's memories were erased and whatnot, they kind of need to confront Ziggy at this point. It's an inevitability now. Um, and yeah, on that note, I may as well talk about Ziggy's new upgraded body, which, if anyone has ever played the Soul Calibur games, you will instantly recognize, like, at the very least, his like Ziggy's chest plate. Because I swear to God, it looks like it was ripped right out of the it looks like that design was ripped right off the Nightmare character. And again, I don't know if it was intentional, but damn, just him having that like Nightmare style chest plate, it looks so beastly on Ziggy and fitting considering he's known as the Demon King. And I thought, and it's just one of those things where if you thought Ziggy was a badass before, his new outfit he's sporting makes him look unspeakably terrifying. And if he's looking to play a part of the evil villain, well, then he's got that down pat now for sure. If I did have any gripes with the chapter, though, this is one of those chapters where obviously, as we see in the beginning portions and a little bit in the middle, we basically see a lot of from Zhao Mei, like just recapping events through her clairvoyance and whatnot. And this is one of those times where her clairvoyant recaps felt largely pointless. And don't get me wrong, her recaps can be useful to the story in certain instances. But in this case, it kind of felt largely unneeded, and Mashima, I think, could have used that extra space for other things, honestly. But it is what it is. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and let's do Crunchyroll. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.